Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bullhucker Podcast. I'm Moose Munster.
I'm Jen Neb, Generous.
Hey Jen, where we at?
We are downtown in Brush, Colorado at the soon-to-be super beautiful Brush Emporium.
It's actually crazy. They have done a lot of work on this building since we've been
It's
been
amazing.
gone.
We're in thrones today, you guys. I pointed out we're rolling in it, got nice chairs.
I can't remember Gilmore City got these chairs, but they're super comfortable, man.
They are.
But it's going to be awesome. They're going to have pizza here, ice cream. They're going to have a bunch of vendors. Anthony, what this place is going to be is people who can't afford a building for their business, a brick and mortar building, you can rent space in here to sell your goods or whatever you do for a living. And it's such a great idea. It's gonna be a good thing, man.
It is. It's a great concept, and what I like about these stores is the variety.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of
Because
variety.
you can always come in and find something. Well, always for ourselves or somebody else.
Right, and
So-
just the pizza alone. So that's
right. You had me at pizza.
you had me a pizza and ice cream.
Yeah,
That's a fat
yeah.
guy dream right there. I'll be living here. So. Anyway, welcome to the Bullhucker Podcast. If you're new to the podcast, what we do is we have a guest come on. This guest is going to tell 3 stories about their life. Now, here's the kicker. 2 of these stories are true. 1 is either borrowed, made up, or partially made up. Now, our guest today is Mr. Anthony Bohlen. How are you, Ann?
I'm doing good, man.
Yeah,
Happy
Anthony
to
and
be
I
here.
work together for now. Anthony's going on to greener pastures. So
Well, we hope they're greener, so.
I know Anthony is the little guy who talks shit at night. That's what he is. He comes in and talks shit. That's
That was actually part of my job description, bully men that are older than me. So that's what I do.
love it. You're like, it's on my resume. I have to stick up with it.
I'm like, the new kid talks a lot of shit.
But you can't hit him because you'll feel bad for punching a 16-year-old. So.
Now, what generation do you come out of? Are you a Gen Zer?
I didn't eat Tide Pods, so
How old are you?
25. I was born in 98.
Okay, so you're a millennial.
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
He's actually been in the Army.
He's a millennial Army
Yeah,
guy.
yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you for your service.
Thanks for the support.
Yeah, thank you for
No,
the
I was
service.
just trying to get a guesstimate. What level are we at? Because that was great. Bullying the older dudes.
1990. He does talk a lot of shit, this one. 1998, I was drunk in a bar the year you were born. So you?
1998. Oh my goodness, I was like well into my career. I was almost having babies. No, I'm just teasing. Yeah, I was doing hair and living the dream in
Right.
Denver. I don't remember those years. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, 98's a bit blurry. You know what I mean? So
That's fair.
it's a good year. It's a good year to be born. So,
Huh?
I mean, 97 was also kind of blurry, which is why you might have been conceived in 97. There was a lot of drinking going on.
I was pushing 30, so
I've met my parents. Yeah, that's probably the case.
I've met my parents.
I mean, they raised me, so.
I'm familiar with them. You know what I mean? We've seen each other in passing.
We know
so-
each other.
Yeah.
Would you have been friends with your parents if you were all the same age when you were in high school? I would not have been friends with my own child.
I think with my mom, her and I would have been friends just because that's where I get my attitude and most of my personality.
Gotcha.
And because she's, I love her to death, but she's an asshole, and so am I. So,
What's your mom's name?
Crystal.
What's up, Crystal?
What is up, Crystal? Is she from? You from here?
Yeah, we're from Fort Morgan, actually.
Crystal who?
Arajo.
No.
Yeah.
I always love it because most of the time I went to high school with your parents.
What's your dad's name?
Yeah.
Steve Bohlen, but he grew up in South Dakota.
What's up, Steve? That's all right. So you don't know Crystal?
Nope. I know a lot of Arajos though.
There's a lot of Rajos around here. Yeah.
It's a big family, good family.
Are you guys related to Rajos and Brush or no?
I'm not even sure.
No.
I mean, it's kind of, with her side of the family, we're kind of separated, so
Gotcha.
there's a few that we still talk to and hang out with, but other than that, it's pretty segregated.
All right. Before I forget to ask you though, we got 3 stories, Anthony, and so what we do is 2 are true and 1's the Bullhucker. Now, without going into great detail, it's either borrowed, partially made up, or all the way made up. Which one is it? Don't go into a lot of detail. Is it half true, half false, all the way false, or did you borrow from somebody, or is it a mixture of all?
It's a mixture of all of them.
Okay, that's
And
it.
when we do the reveal, you'll see
Okay.
why it's the mixture. So
Okay.
Oh, it's going to be a fun trifecta.
Anthony brought this up a while ago. That's why I respect it because he asked to come on. So that's a lot of people have to talk you into it. Some people have balls. They're just like, I'll do it. I'll come on.
Speaking of trifecta, we have a bet to settle tonight.
Oh, I got $20 for you, huh?
You sure do.
Fucking Chiefs.
Go
Oh, I hate 'em
Chiefs.
so much. God. Twice I've lost to her so far. Your mom enjoyed the comedy show though. She came and talked to me after. So
It was the first time she'd ever seen me perform when I called her, and I'm like, was I funny? Did you think I was funny? And she's like, I thought you were funny.
yeah.
But a lot of times she's like, why would you say that? And I'm always like, Mom, have we met? Like, have you and I met?
She was the one that's been divorced 4 times.
Yeah.
Good for her, man.
Yeah.
It's Valentine's Day, so I always have a shirt that says "Cupid can kiss my ass" to whoever's been divorced the longest.
Did you see how I ended up with it?
Yeah, no, I seen you wearing it. Yeah, but Ann Hergenrader said 29 years, and I was like, she's all, I've been with this guy for 20 years. I'm like, we're the same age. 47, dude. So I was like, where's the math add up there, Ann? I love you, but Ann, where's the math add up?
That is a common core overlap, folks, right there. Don't do that math.
Your mom's all 4 times I've been divorced, and everybody starts clapping like that's impressive. That's good
When
for
I
you,
heard
Mom.
her shout it out, I just thought,
5th time's a
oh
charm.
no, Evelyn, there won't be a 5th time.
Actually, it's the first time I met her. She was pretty cool. I really liked her. And
I love my
Yeah.
mother. Hello, Mommy, I love you.
what's up, Evelyn Hall?
Yeah, lots of fun. She's a good lady.
Right. All right. Well, we got 3 great stories. Jen, you want to read them off?
Yes, we have barracks rappelling, riding in a trunk, and how we all got arrested at a barbecue.
I got to tell you, this is one of those things where I don't think that's how you spell repelling, but I don't know the right answer on how to spell repelling.
I don't either.
Yeah,
and
I
I'm
don't know.
going to Google it as soon as I get to my...
That's what you need to. It's one of those things that doesn't look right. You know what I mean? But I
Siri
can't
couldn't
put-
help me earlier.
Well, it wasn't a word when I was young. So
Repelling?
Nobody heard about repelling.
What are you talking
repelling
about?
in gym class?
Yes.
Mr. Sexton's teaching you to rappel down a wall. I never heard about rappelling until I saw stripes.
Really?
Mr. Sexton where?
Huh?
In Fort Morgan?
Yeah.
He was my gym teacher in like the 3rd grade.
He was my gym teacher in
Damn, he was
3rd
old.
grade.
Seriously. Leroy Needens was our high school gym teacher for years and years. He's 90 now. They just retired him at the high school. I think they named the gym after him. Oh, Leroy Needens. What's up, Leroy? And he's watching, but good
I
dude.
love it. Yeah,
Good dude.
Tim moved to the Ukraine, and they just had to escape the Ukraine.
The teacher?
Yeah.
No, is he from there?
No, I don't know why they moved there.
He was from South Dakota. That's how. He was from South Dakota. He was my sister's coach, you know, the whole 9. So he was pretty involved in.
Yeah, he was cross country coach, gym teacher, all that.
Really?
Yeah, and when he retired, I mean, everyone was heartbroken. He was a great guy, you know.
Right.
He could get along with any parents, any kids, whatever. But then, yeah, he's like, yeah, I'm retired. I'm going to South Dakota, go sit on a lazy boy and do nothing all day.
Attaboy.
So, I mean,
He's
that's the dream.
Like JT, right?
Yeah.
JT's moving to Montana, he tells us, and he's going to have a shotgun pointed at anybody who walks to the house and just live by himself forever. That's the plan, right?
Yeah, but he's been trying to retire since I started a year and a half ago, so we don't know.
Okay, JT, slow your roll, huh?
Yeah, what's up, JT? He's a good dude. So, all right, 3 stories. You named them off. Do you want to pick first or you want me to pick first?
You pick first.
Because you picked first last time.
That's right.
With all Mr. Machuca. Barracks repelling, riding in a trunk. There's always one I want to hear the most, Anthony, so I'm going to save that until the last. I'm going to go with barracks repelling.
Okay, so I mean, as we talked about briefly, I did serve in the Army from 2016 to 2019, and one thing you need to note about people in the military is they do really dumb shit, especially on your day off. So,
Okay.
it was normal Friday. Me and a couple of my buddies got off work, and they're like, "Oh, let's go party. We're gonna puke and rally." I'm like, "Nah, I'm gonna relax."
Right.
So I go to my barracks room, I take a shower, grabbed a snack, you know, took a nap. I woke up about 6 p.m. And, you know, this is an hour, 2 hours later. And so I woke up, and I walk out, and the way it's set up like a motel,
Right.
so to speak. So you got 3 levels. We're on the 3rd floor, and I walk out my door and got all my buddies that I work with and friends that I've made sitting to the right and left of me in lawn chairs, smoking and joking. You know, they're just everybody has their own case of beer. You know, my buddy's got his case
Right.
of fucking piss water Bud Light. Sorry if you like that. And
Right.
he's got that next to him. He's like, hey, come over, let's have a beer. I was like, all right. So we started drinking a couple beers, and I decided that the best thing to do would let's start bullshitting, let's start doing dumb shit.
Right.
Because that's where your mind goes after you've had a few.
Of
you know,
course, of
especially
course.
at 18 years old. So
Of course, dude.
so we start brainstorming. We're like, well, what could we do? What could we do? So we're going to fast forward to about 8 p.m. And staff duty was doing their barracks checks. And staff duty is basically just there to ensure that nobody is doing what we're doing, right? Everybody's complying and everybody's...
It's like MP. Is it like an MP almost, or no?
The RA of the college dorm.
yeah, it's more like an RA, right?
Okay. Okay.
And they already hate their life because they have to pull a 24-hour duty, you know, and watch a
Right.
bunch of quote-unquote adults.
Right.
So
Right.
he comes up and he's doing his checks, and me being 18 years old, I kind of take my beer and set it down next to my buddy, and he's like, well, what are you guys doing? We're just smoking a few cigarettes and, you know, talking shit to each other. What else do you do?
Right.
And he's like, all right. Well, you guys have a good night. And he makes his way down to the other end of the building and walks down the stairs. Waited it out about...
No booze is allowed, even if you're over 21.
So,
I don't know.
so there is, but if you're underage, you know, you're not supposed to be drinking.
Okay, so you can bring booze onto a military base
Yeah,
if
and-
you are of age.
Yeah.
I had to ask because I'm ignorant. Okay, go on.
And
Is it okay? Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
They just look the other way, basically. Then, right? I mean.
yeah, so it's
Okay.
kind of, they all came up in the old army, so to speak. So they're like, well, if you can serve our country, you can have a beer.
Oh,
They're like,
absolutely.
really? Don't ask, don't tell.
Yeah. And they're like, just don't be stupid.
Right.
So then he leaves, and we wait about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, you know, and then I'm like, all right, I'll pick up my beer. We'll continue having a good night. So then I had run down to my pickup for something, and it was in the barracks parking lot, and my buddy, he runs down the stairs coming after me, and he's like, hey, we should do something tonight. I was like, I'm not going anywhere. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
I've had a few. I'm at least that smart.
Yeah.
You know, we're not going to be driving. And he's like, do you got any rope?
What kind of fucking questions?
I was like, we could call somebody, okay?
Right.
Like, 'cause, dark humor is a big part of the military. So I'm like, yeah, we could call somebody if you're feeling this way. And he's like, no, you're stupid. So
That's horrible. Too.
it is. It's terrible, but anybody who's listening that's been in the military will understand.
Yeah.
And so he's like, yeah, get some rope. Meet us back upstairs. I was like, all right.
Right.
So I dug in the toolbox of my pickup, and I grabbed this section of like this nylon rope. You know, you can get it in a bundle down at Ace Hardware.
Right.
And so I go upstairs, and he hands me another beer, and he's like, you want to rappel down the side of this building? Hell yeah, I do.
Yes, I do.
It's
Actually,
like,
yes,
what?
I do.
Well, it's like, who do you think you're talking to? Let's
Yeah,
do
yeah.
this.
Yeah,
So-
who doesn't, huh?
It's like the movie. Was it Step Brothers? Do we just become best friends? Do you want to practice karate in the garage? Yeah. No. Of course I do. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what it was. So we're all remembering, and none of us have done rappelling
Right.
since like probably basic training.
Right.
And
Right.
for me, that was closer than a lot of these other guys.
And you're all drunk.
And
And we're all drunk.
in
Yes.
basic training, you were
Okay.
sober doing it. Yeah. So
Yeah.
a little different. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so we're trying to like tie these rope harnesses around, you know, our waist and our crotch and everything.
Rope
And
harness.
we're tied off to the top, and then here comes staff duty again. Because there's no rhyme or reason as to when they do their walkthroughs.
Sure.
And he sees us, and he's like, don't die. Turns around and walks the other way.
Somebody's all tied up in mid-rope diaper. You're all, oh.
Yeah, it was me and my buddy Daniels, and we're just like,
You freeze like he's a T-Rex. Like he won't see us
Yeah.
as long as we're still. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
you know, it was just, don't die. All right, let's do this.
Fair enough.
So we get over the balcony, and we ended up rappelling down to the floor a little bit faster than we should have.
Right.
And so, you know, limping back up the stairs, We're like, all right, let's just sit here for the rest of the night. So half an hour passed, an hour, whatever.
Sure.
We get another kid. He's a newer soldier, just been on Fort Hood for maybe 3 months. He's like, what the hell are you guys doing? I'm like, we're rappelling down the side of the barracks. You want to try it? And he's like, yeah. So we get him, all strapped in and everything, and he fucking makes it to about the second floor and lets go and just falls.
Oh, shit.
We're like, shit. We
Just
gotta,
like out of fun, or just he forgets what he's doing?
I
or
guess. I mean, he was.
How many stories again?
It was probably about to the top of the first floor, so it's probably only like maybe 10 feet.
Okay.
But he ended up, falling flat on his back, knocked the wind out of him,
Of course.
and so now there's 5, 6 guys who are pretty drunk, and we're like, oh, what do we do? We're just standing over the balcony, like, is he dead? So,
Is he twitching or moving?
so we run down there, and by the time we got down there, staff duty was there. This NCO's like, you guys, like, he's fine. He said he's okay. He's going to go back up to his room. I got his room key. I'm going to check on him periodically to make sure he's not concussed, make sure he's not seizing up, He gets put in his room. We're sitting back on the balcony, just like, oh, let's not do anything that stupid ever again.
Right.
Well, somewhere in the middle of that night, it got reported. And so now there's somebody else on staff duty with this other NCO. And he ends up walking through. That's all he did all night was he would third floor, second floor, first floor, and just zigzag all the way through.
Right.
So
He's babysitting.
yeah, and he probably should have been at first.
Right.
But so at this point we're like, yeah, let's go to bed. We need to go to sleep. And my buddy's like, no, we still got 15 beers here. We still got to finish this before we go to bed. I'm like, yeah, you're right. We don't waste.
Yeah, happy plate.
So we're sitting there. We're being mellow. We got some music going. We got beers to drink, cigarettes to smoke. Right. This other NCO, he walks past and he's like, I haven't checked your guys' IDs. And I looked. I'm like, okay, yeah. Here's I took off.
You ran.
I ran. And it wasn't even, there was no rhyme or reason. I ran to my pickup without my key, so it's not like I could get in the cab and hide.
Right.
And so I just sat there. My buddy, he comes down, he's like, hey, he left. It's like, okay. So I go back up and I looked at my beer. I'm like, you know what? I think we're good for the night.
Yeah.
And so through peer pressure and being called a bitch enough, you're like, you know what? Give me my beer back. So, and what we would do is there's about 4 bedrooms, next to each other that were me and my friends and a couple of the guys that we know.
Right.
We all just left our doors open. Music's going in one room. We got one other guy over here with, the cold beer. We got another guy over here playing Xbox for some reason when he could be having a better time.
Yeah.
And so I just walked into a random room. I had to take a piss. So walked into the room, walked into the bathroom. I'm doing my thing. And then my buddy, Daniels, he's at the door. And he's like, hey, Sergeant, you haven't checked his. And I'm coming out of the bathroom, did up my pants, grabbed my beer, and I'm like, oh, shit.
You don't have an ID, or what's going on?
I was 19.
Oh.
So I was underage.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, oh, I'm screwed.
Yeah.
Like, here's my career, here's everything. And so he's like, why don't you come out here? I was like, oh, fuck, all right. He sits me down on this chair. And he's like, where's your ID? I was like, I don't even know where my wallet's at. I was like, but I can tell you this right now because I'm not going to lie to you. I was like, that's not who I am. I'm 19 years old, 18, 19 years old,
Yeah.
I was like, I have been drinking, and this is not my first beer. He's like, are you ready for Monday morning? I'm going to take you down to Sergeant Major of the battalion, and he's top dog, right?
Okay.
And he's like, you're going to have to explain to him and then explain to the BC that you're out here underage drinking. I was like,
What's the BC?
the battalion commander.
Okay.
So, I mean, when shit rolls downhill, they're the ones taking the shit.
Right.
And
Right.
so I'm like, yeah, I guess like this is my fate. This is it. This is the end of my career. I've only been active duty for 6 months to a year,
Right.
and I'm content. I was like, all right, let's go. let's get out of here. Let's go get me in trouble right now. Take me to the MPs, whatever.
Right.
And he's like, all right, you ready? Let's go. And he grabs me by the arm. And I was like, well, can I take my beer? And he busted up laughing. He's like, hey man, sit down. He's like, let me tell you something. He's like, the other shit you pulled earlier, rappelling down the side of the barracks. He's like, I got in trouble for that. It's like, oh, my bad. And he's like, but if you guys are just gonna keep doing this, chilling out, having a good time, I ain't gonna give you no trouble.
That's cool.
I was like, you're cool. And I was like, so you want a beer? Just
Yeah.
joking. And he's like, give me one and a shot. I'm like, oh, all right, well, we're friends now. So
So you got away with it.
yeah, I got away with it.
Well, that's cool.
Very nice, very nice.
Your buddy was okay?
Yeah, he ended up just knocking the wind out of himself. He was
Yeah.
actually back, later on that night having a couple beers with us. He actually called his mom and explained what had happened. He put her on speaker, and she was talking to us, and she was ripping our asses about, why would you let him do this? I'm like, he's 18 years old. Like, he's not a child, But we should have been.
There's why he's in the Army and not the college.
Exactly.
Right.
I like how you have a bitch threshold. Like, you're not going to do this anymore. And then, like, okay, that's the 17th bitch. All right, you got me. Give me my beer back.
Yeah, it's like-
Give me my beer
up to
back.
16 bitches, I can hold you off. But 17 bitches, that's too much. Give me the goddamn beer. So,
Now it's
I
starting to
love it.
mean something. Give it here.
yeah. You're starting to hurt my feelings and affect my ego. So, what'd you think about that one, Jennifer?
I think that is extremely highly plausible. The hijinks in the military, first of all, and yeah, I also know about shit rolling downhill. And rappelling's not easy, right? Like, it looks easy, but if you don't have the control of facing forward and you crash, you're going to have a problem.
Listen, if you're drunk and then make two
Nothing's easy.
harness made out of nylon rope, no, it's probably not easy, right? I mean, it's
No,
not.
it was.
That was my favorite
They weren't
part,
tied
is the
right.
visual of your commanding officer walking in, seeing a rope diaper tied around your balls, legs, and going, oh yeah, they're about to do what I've done. So, oh yeah, I can only imagine the visual of him just going, oh yeah, history repeats itself.
Yeah, he's like, I know how this rolls.
And just
you know?
saying,
Yeah.
be careful, I didn't see this. I think that's great.
You know how much drunken MacGyvering I've done in my life? I mean, just start building shit. There's a comedian who has a funny joke. It's not drinking, it's marijuana. How they say marijuana leads to, it's a gateway drug, leads to harder drugs, but no, it just leads to carpentry. That kind of shit, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
You just start building shit. So,
Snacks and naps.
yeah. So,
Well, I mean,
I'm a carpenter.
yeah.
you can give a crackhead some crack, nothing to smoke out of. They're gonna flip out. You give a pothead some weed, nothing to smoke out of. They will become an engineer.
Yes, they will. They will.
I'm
So-
so convinced Adam and Eve. Adam was a stoner. That's how we got that great apple. And then somebody was crackhead for the tinfoil that went in it.
When I was the night manager at the Wendy's in town, they used to get high there all the time. One day I catch them in the garbage bin, or the little fenced-in garbage area, and they've got a potato that they have hollowed out, and they're now getting high. A potato. I'd have to walk through and check every sink for the filters, the little screens in the sink, and be like, okay, who's got the screen for this one? You fuckers got to buy your own screens. And you're down to one potato a week, okay? You got to make that potato last, all right? I don't want to be doing potato inventory. And when Lynn's like, why are we down 15 potatoes? Because we have people with a drug problem here, Lynn. I don't have to tell you. These
That
guys are
is
getting high as
too
shit with
funny.
potatoes. I go out there, and he's got the potato to his mouth, and he's lighting it on fire. I'm like, what does that even do? What are you doing? He's like, we're getting high. I'm like, oh, a fucking potato? What's that do, So, yeah, it got to a point where I'm like, you guys need to buy a pipe. I don't know what to tell you. Hide it in the office. Buy a pipe. No more potato. No more papas.
No,
more
we're stealing
papas.
the screens. I remember stealing screens
Uh,
anywhere I could find one.
Oh, you're a monster. I used to get so pissed off at them. And I'd know when they start getting high because I'd hear the fryer click back on. You know what I mean? And a bag of nuggets go down. I'm like, God, they're stoned. And then I go stoned with them. I was a pothead for like 3 months out of my life. But, yeah, man, I don't know how that Wendy's is still open. The nugget debt they have must be just horrendous.
The
So,
nugget death.
dude, there was so many nuggets. There's like 45 chickens worth of nuggets done. All right. That was barracks repelling. We got two more. We got riding in a trunk and how we all got arrested at a barbecue. Jen, what do you want to hear?
I'm going to take an assumption You want to hear that last. I want to go with how we all got arrested at a barbecue.
There you go.
All right, so, and for preference, these all take place when I was in the military.
Okay.
I met one of my buddies. He was in a different company than I was, but we often worked together and became good friends. I actually just talked to him today, hey, how's life going? That type of deal.
What's your buddy's name?
Jeff.
What's up, Jeff?
So he was always like, hey, come over to the house. And it was never, he's older than me, so he's old enough to be like, hey, let's have a fun night the adult way, have a few beers, watch a movie, have a bonfire, right. That type of deal.
Right.
So he calls me, and this is like maybe the second or third time I go over to his house. And so I walk in, and his wife was in my company, so I knew her pretty well, and we were all good friends, like a little family, honestly. So her boys are running up to me, and they're like, hey, what's going on? They were, I want to say 4 and 7.
Okay.
So they're still at that age where anybody that walks through the door, they're your best friend,
Yeah, of course.
And here's the bad influence uncle, coming with a 30 rack of beer, just being like, yeah, let's have some fun. So we're there, and I was the only one. He had probably 7 or 8 people that he invited over.
Right.
And we're doing our thing. Some guys are in the garage working on somebody's vehicle. Me and Jeff were out back, with the kids. And his wife, we're grilling for everybody. And then you got a couple other people that are sitting inside just, being antisocial, I guess.
Sure.
So night goes on, and we're having a good time. Nobody was out of hand. Nobody was, I wouldn't even say anybody was drunk. We're all just kind of sipping on our beers, having a good time, enjoying the company.
Sure.
And I remember I went inside, and I went into this bathroom, and it was like a half bath, so it had just the toilet and the sink, right? Mm-hmm. No shower, no nothing. So I'm standing there and taking a piss, and then next thing I know, somebody's banging on the door. I'm like, hey, occupado, right? Yeah. Give me a second. Yeah. And
occupado, is that even fucking word?
I don't know, but it works, right?
Andale puto.
So I'm like, hey, what's going on? I finish up, wash my hands, open the door. I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, hey, there's cops outside. I'm like, okay. What? Why does that matter to me?
Yeah.
Like, this ain't my house. I didn't do nothing.
Yeah, yes.
And so they're like, well, you're not 21, are you? I'm like, no, I am. I turned 21 when I was in Europe. So right. I'm legal now.
Yeah.
Don't have to.
Plus, I'm hiding in the only little bathroom.
Yeah, so shut the door, damn it.
Yeah.
And so they're like, oh, no, they want everybody out here. I was like, all right. So you see everybody walking outside. We're walking into the backyard. People are just setting their drinks down. They're like, I don't need to get in trouble. And
because some of them are underage.
No, just
no.
I guess they didn't want to come off as belligerent to the police or whatever.
Gotcha.
So then there's me. Yeah. I'm just cracked another beer. And,
yeah, of course.
I'm like, what seems to be the problem? Like, why'd I have to stop midstream, man? Like, this is bullshit.
You know how bad that hurts?
Yeah.
By the way,
does it?
It hurts.
It is terrible.
It's not fun.
I wouldn't.
I don't think I'd be able to.
10 out of 10 would not recommend.
I need a cork for sure, but I don't think.
It's not fun. Anyway.
Yeah. So anyways, walking out there, and we ask them what's going on, and they're like, oh, so-and-so over here's got a warrant. So again, I had to stop midstream because this guy and he's here.
Yeah.
And so they wanted to get all of our statements as to how he's been acting, who he is around us, that kind of thing.
Right.
So they get our statements, and mine went along the lines of, I met him like 2 hours ago. We just both showed up here with beer, and now we're kind of buddies, kind of talking shit to each other, like friends do, I guess.
Of course.
And, I don't know much about him, so I'm not much help. So they haul him off. And we're like, okay, I guess, what are you going to do? We're not going to stop having a good time just because he got arrested.
Right.
Like, that's his problem. And so my buddy Jeff had actually called his wife, they were separated. So they weren't living together. He was kind of just couch surfing.
Sure.
Calls her, and she's like, oh, yeah, that's his problem. I don't need him in my life. I don't want him in my life. Come to find out, he actually went to jail because she lied, and this was later proven in court that she lied about him being abusive. And so I'm like, well, when do we get to see him again? Like, he's going to be at the next barbecue? And like, that was my concern, you know. Right. And from what I've seen, he was a really good guy that just wrong place, wrong time, crazy woman.
Sure.
And yeah, so that was that. I mean, he turns out he was found innocent on all charges. He was a good guy, and she actually ended up getting, I think, fined. She didn't do no time.
Sure.
But
you tell the cops, just arrest him, get him out of here. We're going to teach your kids how to rappel off the roof. What are you doing? You know, we got shit to do, man. Let's do this.
Was there a 4-year-old on the roof? Well, this is called training, sir. All right.
That's fine. We got weight enough nylon rope on him. It's fine.
Man.
We tested it. We tested it. He can hold his weight. It's fine. It'll be fine.
It's the Spider-Man bed sheets that are tied around him. So.
It'll be fine. Mind your business, cop.
He's
Okay.
perfectly safe if he's got his Spider-Man bed sheets.
He's not endangered until we push him. That's the point you get to step in. So
And look, we got the little trampoline right under him. You know, he should fall right here, but you know.
Oh my goodness!
As the cop's writing out the report, he's like, "How do you spell repelling?" We're like, we don't know.
We don't know. Ask Siri. You know, she didn't help me, and maybe she'll help you.
That's funny. That's funny. You were in Europe.
Yeah.
That's cool. None of these stories are Europe, though.
One of them is.
Okay, I guess the last one is.
When you got arrested at the barbecue in Europe.
No.
You turned 21 in Europe.
Yeah.
I am a good listener, I swear.
Okay. All right. And you had to cut your pee off twice. That does suck. It's not fun. It's not. Well,
so, I mean, I guess for the last one, we weren't all arrested. We were all detained. I mean, to the point where you couldn't walk back into the house.
Right.
Until they were done with you.
Yeah, and I thought that was utter bullshit because I'm like, dude, like we did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah.
Nothing major, just a violation of your fourth civil right or something like that.
Yeah, that's fine. You guys do what you want. You want to beat one of the kids with the nightstick? It's fine. Just kick the shit out of them. It's fine. No big
rule
deal.
of thumb, sir. Rule of thumb. You got to remember that.
Don't return them to their parents when they're done.
All right. So, what do you think about that one, Jen?
I thought that was interesting. I've had something similar happen out at Jackson Lake with the Fort Morgan police. We were all detained. Yeah.
Who got arrested? No, you get elaborate. Did you almost get arrested? Or did you have a friend get almost arrested?
No, they lined us up. It was, remember I was talking about the night before my state boards for beauty school. Cops come bust a party.
State boards for beauty school is a great.
They
sentence.
lined us all up, and if you were over 21, you got contributing, and if you were under 21, you got open container.
Oh shit!
Everybody at the party was ticketed, and I come stumbling in at like 5:30 in the morning. My mom was like, "Where? You gotta take your state boards for cosmetology." I'm like, "Let's go."
You're better than me. I'd have been like, not today.
And I was over 21, but I didn't buy the booze, so I was like, "Can you please just write me a ticket? I have adult things to get to tomorrow."
I gotta cut hair tomorrow, assholes.
Yeah.
You gotta take state boards for cosmetology.
Oh yeah, there's this. If you we have to display our license like doctors.
It's hilarious.
I know that one of my friends.
It's weird, right?
It's weird.
One of my friends actually, she's a beautician, and she wanted to get her barber's license. I thought it was this crazy
Even more.
thing. Yeah, and it's
harder.
Is it harder?
You have to do 500 more hours of training because you got to learn how to use straight razor. I'm not allowed to use a straight razor.
Anyway, what?
And, you know, our friend, you know, she's a beautician in Fort Morgan, and she has a barber's license, you know, so that's good. She asked me to be one of her models, and I'm like, hell yeah, you know, cut me up. And as I'm sitting in the chair, I'm like, so how often have you done this? And she's like, oh, I did, you know, my brother, you know, and so. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. I was like, so what does this entail? I'm thinking, like, you got to cut hair with your eyes closed or something. She's like, oh, no, just using this little straight razor. I'm like, and the course is that long, you know? So, I mean, they're...
Yeah, there's lots of strict laws. They just passed one. My Sydney is acting up. They just passed one now where we're supposed to report if a woman if we think or a woman tells us she's being domestically abused.
So Carrie Ankrum told me that also.
Big
that they
deal.
They have to. I do understand that. You know.
I do
I
too,
respect
but
that.
Yeah.
we're also trusted
Right.
people by those women in our chairs. And I've always said you can tell they're not in the salon alone. Their husband's in the salon with them.
Yeah. No.
Yeah,
That,
they don't have to say anything.
Carrie's told me that before. That if someone mentions something, she has to report it. So
Yep.
that's a crazy, but good. That's good. So, because if you're gonna beat your old lady, you're a piece of shit anyway. You should go to jail, coward. So anyway.
Exactly.
All right. I like that one too. But do you have a front runner?
No, I do not have a front runner
Okay.
as of yet.
I do. So
Okay.
one I believe more than the other one, but we'll get there pretty soon. So one more, Mr. Anthony, riding in a trunk.
This was
Look at the smile on his face. I can't wait to hear it.
it was a very eventful night. So when we were in Europe, we were in Romania. And for the life of me, I cannot remember the name of the base we were on, but it was a small base. I'd say probably the size of Leprino's footprint.
Okay.
So, and that was the entire base, minus the airfield.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's nothing.
And we had, I know that the Army alone had 4 barracks buildings, and that was just for the male soldiers. And then we had Romanian soldiers that were there as well, and then we also had Canadian soldiers. So
Okay.
we were all kind of intermingled on this base. And the biggest thing that we didn't like was the fact that we have been over here, I think at that point it was for maybe 4 or 5 months, and we were just ready to, we wanted to go do something. We're not necessarily go home, but we wanted to go out and go experience other things besides waking up at 6:30 and running 10 miles
Right.
and working all day, you know.
Right.
So I was a mechanic. I was a 91 hotel track mechanic, and our day consisted of wake up, do PT, go to the motor pool, fix a bunch of dumb shit that shouldn't have been broken in the first place,
Right.
and then go home, you know. And so for a while, we were on GO1, and what that means is you're not allowed to go out and drink and indulge in, you know, you're not allowed to do anything.
Right.
You go
It's
to
your
work-
level of leave, right? Like if you're
Yeah, so,
allowed
like,
to
we're on
leave the base
lockdown.
or
So we couldn't leave the base at all, and even if you were walking around the base, like I used to walk around 2, 3 o'clock in the morning talking to my girlfriend, you know, now my wife, and
What's your wife's name?
Bella.
What's up, Bella?
Hopefully she listens. Hope she supports me, but you know, if not, then
Right.
we'll talk about that later. and, so I'd be up, you know, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning walking around, just, you know how it is when you're on the phone with somebody, you know, good conversation.
Right.
I ended up on one side of the base at the motor pool where I worked. I ended up on the other side next to the fence, you know, just talking, you know, having good conversation. I got stopped multiple times. Hey, you need to be in bed. You're not my dad, you know, so I don't need to. But so we finally get GO1 gets lifted, and one of my good friends, Guerrero,
What's up, Guerrero?
he says, "Hey, we're gonna go out tonight." It's like, I'm good, and he's like, "No, you're gonna go out tonight." It's like, no, I'm gonna sit here. I'm gonna watch my Netflix, watch my Sons of Anarchy,
Yeah.
and just leave me alone. You know,
Yeah.
you guys go out, you guys have fun. I'm gonna stay here and save my money.
Right.
So then Guerrero called me a bitch like 17 times, and I had to go.
He hit the bitch threshold.
Yeah, he hit the bitch threshold.
Guerrero is the beer. Let's go.
Yeah, so I was like, all right, cool, let me shower real quick. So I jumped in the shower, got ready, and we went out. And I looked just like I do now. Hoodie, pants, and boots. That's all I wear. And Guerrero was like, yeah, we're going to go out with all these other people. So it was me, Guerrero, Kyle, Stevenson, and Amaral. You know, there's a bunch of other guys, right?
Right.
We called this guy to come give us a ride in his cab, right? And so there's like 5 or 6 of us standing out there. We're like, hey, man, let's you want to take us over here? And I'm like, wait, where are we going? They're like, we're going to this nightclub. I was like, man, I don't do nightclubs. They're like, trust me, you'll enjoy it. It's like, all right, let's go. So we go to this nightclub. Well, let me back up. The cab driver's standing there, and he's like, I can't fit all of you. And I was like, well, what do you mean? He's like, well, you need to call another cab for one person or for, you know, a couple people so you guys don't get separated.
Right.
And my dumbass jokingly says, well, you got a trunk, right? He's like, the kid's not wrong. He's like, do you want to ride in the trunk? I was like, no, we'll put the dumbest person in the trunk. Well, I look around and everybody's bigger than me, you know? And I'm like, oh, looks like I'm the smallest and the dumbest because it was my idea. So I jump in the trunk of like this, it's like this Ford Focus, right? A little sedan.
Jesus, seriously?
It's
Yeah.
tiny.
Oh my God, it's tiny.
It was, but at the same time, I felt like a king because you had, you know, the taxi cab driver, and then you had, you know, one of my buddies, and then you had 4 other guys in the back seat.
Right.
You know, 3, 4 other guys in the back seat, and they're sitting, you know, like sardines in a can, just packed in.
scrunched, yeah.
So I might be in like a half ball in the trunk, but you know what? It was nice.
At least you got ballroom, right?
Yeah, and I also found a soccer ball back there that I used as a pillow, so it wasn't that bad.
That's nice. Yeah.
Nice. It's all moving with your head.
Yeah, it was great. And like, there was one point where I remember I like called or texted my mom. No, I called her because she didn't answer because it was obviously
While
late.
you were in the trunk.
Yeah, and she's like, "Hey, what's going on?" I'm like, just going out with my friends, you know." And she's like, "Oh, where are you at?" I was like, "Don't know." She's like, "That doesn't make me feel better, you know."
Right.
I'm the baby of the
Somewhere in
family.
Eastern Europe.
Yeah, I could be getting sold for all I know, you know, like I've seen Hostel, you know. So,
That was going to be my first question. Have you not seen Hostel?
Like the kid who left the soccer ball. That's now you. So yeah.
yeah, so I mean, and she's like, "Oh my God, let me know when you get where you're going. I need to know that you're safe." I'm like, "I'll be okay. Like it'll buff out, Mom. Don't worry.
Right.
Love you. Bye." Hung up. So then, you know, you feel the car come to a stop, and then you can hear the door shut and just do 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 do, you know. And I'm like,
Guys.
Hello. It took about 10 minutes before my buddy Guerrero was like, "Oh shit," you know. So he runs out and he like pops trunk and he's like, "We forgot about you." I'm like, "Hey, don't worry. Like I was comfortable, you know. I had this nice pillow right here,
Right.
you know. Probably got some dog shit on it, but
Right.
So he's like, "All right, well, we're gonna go to this little nightclub first." Go to this nightclub. It's all loud music, strobe lights, dancing. You know, not my scene.
A techno dance. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm kind of standing at the bar, and I recognize the guy next to me. I'm like, "It's our cab driver." And I see him drinking. It's at like a whiskey glass.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if I'm riding in the trunk of this guy's car and he's drinking straight vodka, like I am screwed, right?
Actually, probably the safest one there. But go ahead.
Yeah. So anyway, so he's just killing him. I'm like, oh fuck, like this is gonna get bad fast.
Right.
Come to find out, it was just water. You know, I was so much more relieved when I saw the bartender. She comes up, she pours him some water, you know, and,
Yeah.
and so we're like, "Hey, you know, what do you wanna do tonight?" And he's like, "I don't know, I'm kind of hungry." And the good part about this guy was he only charged to take us from base into town, and he would drive us around town all night and then charge us to take us back.
That's cool.
So, because he made so much money on us dumb drunk kids,
Right.
you know, from the ride there plus tips and the ride back plus tips, that he could afford to do that.
Right.
So then, you know, we left that club and we went to like this, I don't want to call it a gentleman's club, and I'm not going to call it a strip club because it wasn't.
Okay.
Because I made that very clear. That is one thing that I refuse to do. It's not my scene, and I do have morals, you know.
Right.
So
What if they call you a bitch 17 times?
I think I'll let that one slide, you know.
Okay,
You can,
all right.
We're off to Dandy Dan's.
So we go to this, it's like a gentleman's club type lounge, and it was like right next door, right? So we're sitting there having a good time, taking Jaeger bombs and just enjoying the company, enjoying our friends, our brothers that are with us. Well, somebody got in a fight with the urinal and lost.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so we got the bouncer, this, you know, big ass guy, just fucking 7 foot tall and 400 pounds. He's like, "You guys need to leave." We're like, "All right." So
Right.
we're getting escorted out by this huge ass bouncer, and so everybody's like packing into the car. They're like, "Yeah, we gotta go before we have to pay for it." And I'm just standing there, I'm like, "Fuck, I gotta get back in the trunk." All right, I popped the trunk. I jumped in. I closed it. So my buddy calls me. He's like, "Hey, are you in the trunk?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm here. Like, just go." You know.
Yeah.
So we're going back to post, and at this point, it's probably, I'd say 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. We were supposed to be back at 11.
Right.
So we're way past curfew. And after a certain hour, that driver is permitted or has to, by regulation, open all doors and all compartments. So
Oh, they're doing it.
they're doing a search. So the people that were working the gate were Marines. And the Marines were like, yeah, like, just go through. Our cab pulls up, and they're like, all right, yeah, we're going to do a full search. So I'm like, shit, like, we're so screwed. Like, I'm not going to make it out of the military.
Right.
The same rank that I am now.
Right.
And so I'm like, shit. Pops the trunk, and he's like, just shuts it. Just, they're good to go. Let them through.
You're the third one today. It's probably, you know what I mean?
That's funny. Slip this one under the rug. Get out of here.
Yeah, he looks dumb enough. He's fine, And so he pulls on the post, and my buddy hurries up and he jimmies open the trunk, and he's like, we gotta go to bed. I'm like, why? He's like, they're doing bed checks. I'm like, shit. So we bolt. We're running about maybe 50 yards from where the cab drops us off to our barracks. And so we haul ass and we get in there, and we all jumped into bed. I still got my shoes on or my boots on, and I'm under the covers. I'm just pretending I'm asleep. It's okay. Like, nobody's gonna know. Well, somebody had snitched that not everybody was back. Not being a good friend.
Damn snitches.
And so then my NCOs come in. They're like, "Hey, bed checks. Everybody, get your fucking asses up." And we're like, "All right." So we wake up and we're like, "What's going on here?" They're like, "Oh, yeah, somebody wasn't back. Apparently somebody was just lying." We're like, "Yeah, just whatever." And so after they left, I finally went to bed. Next morning, my buddy's like, "Can you believe you rode in the trunk for like half the night?" I was like, "I can't believe you guys let me." Like, that's, like, looking back, I'm like, because traffic there's terrible.
Right.
Yeah, and you can't get out.
Yeah, I'm like, so what would have happened if you got in a wreck? Because a few weeks after that, there was 3 soldiers that were actually in a cab, and it was just the 3 of them, 2 in the back, 1 in the front, and then the driver. And they ended up getting into a rear-end collision, and everyone was okay, Right. But the one guy, he ended up hitting his head, and he has a nice little Harry Potter scar on his forehead.
Nice.
The 2 in the back seat, the girl, she was fine. Just, maybe a little bit of mild whiplash from getting hit.
But anybody in the trunk is not going to make it.
Yeah, so, like, it was a really big eye-opener. Like, a couple weeks later, I'm like, damn, like, what if... Because it was the same cab driver. So we're like, holy shit,
Right.
It was a crazy and eventful night, but it was one night that we still talk about with the 3 friends that I still talk to. We still talk about it, we still reminisce, and we still laugh about it.
Yeah.
Like, it's that kind of thing that we all bonded over that it's amazing.
So how many times on this podcast this came up with Joe Machuca. This podcast is good at telling stories about times you probably should be dead. The over 100-something episodes, I've heard people over and over tell me stories that
I shouldn't be here.
you don't realize
Yeah.
how close you were probably at times
Yeah.
to being seriously fucked up until you look back on it, and you're like, oof, and then you're a young guy still. Anthony, I guarantee it's going to happen more and more in your life where you look back and you're like, man, I am so lucky I dodged a bullet there. You just don't realize it when it's happening.
And what's funny is, I'm 25, and being 25, everyone, especially like at our work, like, oh, you're young, you got plenty of living to do, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you know what? I have actually matured a lot. I think so. From the time that I was 18 years old to now, because I do look back at stuff. I don't speed that much anymore.
Yeah.
I'm like, that could be a ticket. That could be my life. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of growing up you do. From in that little brief time span. So.
Right. I worked at a nightclub when I was your age, so it was a free for all. For sure,
In Pueblo?
No, Pueblo. Yeah, it's like being in a foreign country. It's fucking crazy. So, what do you think about that one, Jen?
I thought that was great. I would not trust one friend even let me out of a trunk at a drive-in.
Yeah, dude, in a foreign
save
country,
$10
up your ass, I would be in that trunk.
To be fair, I didn't fit in the trunk, so.
Who you talking to?
Right.
So shit.
You're like,
I
I ain't riding in the trunk, motherfuckers.
Girl, I barely fit in the damn car. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So little in the trunk. But I thought that story's going to go a way different area. I thought he's going to call and say, "Are you in the trunk?" Because we're still outside, and you were in a different trunk. That's what I thought was going to happen. Like your ass is heading to Greece or something.
I thought you were going to get stuck in the trunk.
What'd you think about that one?
I thought that one was totally fun. And you're right. You created memories.
Yeah.
And that will be one that will always stick with
Yeah,
you.
memories are amazing, dude. So.
And there's no doubt in my mind that,
right.
once again, you weren't going to spend any money on a cab for two.
Yeah.
Just put me in the trunk.
I think by the end of it, everyone checked their bank accounts, and this guy ended up making over $1,000 off of us.
Just
That night.
running you
That
back
night.
and forth.
Good for him.
Because we paid him for the trip to and from, right? You know, we got to town, like, oh, hey, here's your money. You know, and we got back, hey, here's your money.
Right.
But the fact that you have 5, 6 drunk kids, they're just like, oh, we're rich over here. Here you go. Here
Yeah.
you go. I mean, and
Yeah.
I'm like, I think alone I spent probably like $200. I'm guessing more than half of that was on just the cab ride alone.
But you had that relationship with that cab driver, right?
Yeah, and
There was a little restaurant in Pueblo called the Southwest Grill. Every day after work, we go eat breakfast there at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, whenever we got off. And Gilbert was one of the waiters there, super gay, like, you know what I mean, like flaming gay.
He was Gilbert,
Yeah.
not Gilbert.
Yeah, but he was also a hairdresser during the day, so it got to a point where almost every waitress took them and their kids to Gilbert, you know. But this dude would clean house with us because we go in there shit faced from work already. We get hammered at work. You work at a bar. Let's be serious now.
Yeah.
We would go in there and just drop money for tips. You know, because all we had is cash on us, dude. You know what I mean? And you're hammered and you love Gilbert. And this dude was no dummy, man. I mean, he'd go and he'd just wait on our table. That's it. After we got there, we were the kings of that place. Like nobody else got the service we got, man. Like my Pepsi never got half empty, you know. And Gilbert was all over it. And, jewelry everywhere, like Liberace. He was crazy, man. But that dude, he buddied up to the whole staff at Pepper's nightclub, man, and he cleaned house, man. So
Nice.
all right, Jen. Well, Anthony, when we pick to see which one we think is the Bullhucker, we rock paper scissors. How do you rock paper scissors?
I do rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
He's a 4-pumper. Oh, so we got a 4-pump now.
Oh, we do?
Yeah, whatever they are. You just want to do 3?
No.
We're gonna do 4.
Let's try a 4.
Are you ready?
Yep.
Oh.
I can I do this? Okay. Dang it.
Before we go on any further, I do want to say, if you are new to the podcast, and you want to help, if you like what you've heard or watched today, on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, there's a little red button. That's our subscribe button. Please check it out and hit that. And it's a little quick for you, but a big click for us. Also, in the description below, you will see a link for the Brush Emporium. Make sure you check out their Facebook page and hit a like, man. Follow these guys so when they open, you know what's going on. I'm also going to bring up something real quick. Anthony's wife is a baker. She bakes the most amazing treats. Does she have a Facebook? Does she have anywhere to find her?
Yeah, so she has a Facebook, Instagram business page.
Okay.
She's under Sugar Beet Treats.
Okay.
She's based out of Fort Morgan. There's also a similar shop in Fort Morgan.
Sugar beet treats.
Beet as in like sugar beet or B-E-T or?
Yeah.
Okay.
And she sells her stuff out of there. She does custom orders. So if you look her up, get her contact info off Facebook or Instagram. And I mean, she does. I don't like sweets personally, but everything that she has made that I have tried, it is amazing. And so I feel like that's a more honest opinion. And you've had it at work, you know.
Okay, here's the deal.
I love the name.
Every time it shows up, I hate it. I absolutely hate it because it's delicious.
Is she the
it's
one
amazing.
doing the cookies? Does she have that cookie cart? I saw a cookie cart one day in town. No. Nope.
She always
Sugar beet
Maybe.
treats.
People brings it in and leaves it on the table, and it did people like locusts. These guys
What a
go
great
after it.
homage to the sugar beet industry.
But she does an
and-
amazing job. Everything I've not had anything she's made that I have not been like, this sucks. It's the.
Yum.
As a matter of fact, I'm like, you need to tell Anthony. Quit. I said, how the hell is Anthony not 500 pounds? You explained this to me. These they're really good. So one more time, how do we find her?
So you're going to find her on Facebook and Instagram, Sugar Beet Treats.
Definitely check it out.
All one word, all lowercase.
I am not sure.
I'm sure
It'll
if
be
you bring it up on
easy enough
Facebook,
to
it'll find.
find.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And nowadays, DJing weddings and stuff, a lot of people are she does cakes too, yes or no?
Oh, yeah.
She does cakes, but the cupcakes are amazing because I've seen a lot of couples do that now. They do a little wedding cake for them and cupcakes for everybody else. If you need someone to do that, I know there's not a lot of people around here to do it, but she does an amazing job. So please check out Bella at the Sugar Beet Treats.
Yeah.
Sugar
And
beet
thank you.
treats.
Like, she will appreciate that.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
man. No, she does a great job. You and I had a discussion about this one day, so her getting that off the ground. So now that we've hoarded out all everybody's stuff, and oh, by the way, bullhucker.com, you can find all your stuff. Please make sure you check that out too, while we're doing some whoring.
Yeah, whore yourself out too.
All right, 3 great stories. We have barracks repelling, riding in the trunk, and how we all got arrested at a barbecue. Now, Jen, since I won rock, paper, scissors, again, she's been kicking my ass, so I'm gloating now. Pick one out. What do you think? Which one? Talk to me, Goose. Talk to me.
Okay, let's see. So, Mav, I think that, God, they were all so believable. They're all just so real. Nothing outrageous, nothing too crazy. And that's what makes it harder.
Do you have one
But-
you think is absolutely true?
I think when you're in trouble for which one do I think is absolutely
No,
true?
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Barracks repelling.
You think that's true?
Yeah.
Okay, so the other 2, what do you think?
So I'm gonna go with how we all got arrested at a barbecue because I think when it comes down to domestic violence, they don't give a shit about anybody but the guy they're gunning for. I think that it probably happened, but I don't think that everybody got detained over it.
All right.
So on that little statement alone, I'm going with how we all got arrested
Okay.
at a barbecue.
So I'm going to say barracks repelling is true. A lot of detail of that. You can say, over a couple hundred episodes, I've learned to watch someone how they tell a story. Now, you've been guilty about something big time this whole time.
Really?
Yeah. You had a lot of pride with that story. You can tell that was a memory in your head you're proud of, you love. That's awesome. The same goes with riding in a trunk. You could tell you're proud of that story. You know what I mean? And you could tell by the look in your eye and the way you told it, that is a cherished memory to you. How we all got arrested at a barbecue, I didn't think of the way you thought about it, but that didn't have a lot of detail, and it seemed like something you put together to have a lie.
You didn't see the passion behind it.
I didn't see the
is what you're
passion
saying.
behind it, you know what I'm saying?
Fascinating.
Plus, if you had to stop peeing twice, I think you'd still be walking funny because it does hurt. It's not fun. So
Terrible. Terrible.
You'd still be backed up.
a great job telling the stories, but with some people, you can tell because they're so passionate about how they tell a story. And you were, for those 2 stories, you were very passionate. And not that you weren't with the how we all got arrested at barbecue, it just didn't have the passion the other 2 did. So that's the only reason I'm actually picking that story. So we're going to double up on this one.
Fascinating. Okay.
Mr. Bohlen, let's check out your board.
Dun, dun, dun.
How I got arrested at barbecue.
Yeah.
What's not true about it?
So that night, I actually did go to my friend's house for a barbecue. Me and Jeff and his wife and their kids.
Right.
It was the 3 of us.
Right.
And his house down in Texas, his backyard, you can kind of overlook the neighborhood.
Right.
And so we would sit there, we'd barbecue, we'd sit outside, have a bonfire, and just chill out after, all the bullshit of work and the military and all
Sure.
this. But next door, his neighbor was just an ass. Like, you didn't want to talk to him, you didn't want to be around him. If, you were outside pulling up to the house, you wanted to make sure that he didn't see you.
Just to avoid it altogether, yeah.
Yeah. So he was actually the one that got talked to for the domestic violence stuff because somebody had reported him for it because his wife was, like, never around. And she was real timid, really sweet lady.
Right.
But apparently you talk to her, and this man is nothing but a giant teddy bear.
And she pays for it. Yeah.
So he was...
Later.
No, because everything that actually came out of it was there was no domestic violence. A neighbor had reported
that's
it.
right. She had. Okay, right. It was a lie.
But this man had put her on a pedestal so high that she was the only one that ever seen it. He was not... You could be walking down the street, hey, sir, how you doing? Oh, go fuck yourself, So he did not like people, but he loved the hell out of her.
That's cool.
So when we figured that out from a couple of friends that Jeff had on the police department, in the area, we were like, damn, like we were shocked,
Right.
Because we kind of heard about it and we're like, oh, well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then we were more shocked to find out that he was innocent and none of it was true.
That's carazy.
Wow.
So barracks repelling is true.
Yeah. That was, like I said, about 6 months to a year into the military, and 18-year-olds start drinking, you do dumb shit.
Yeah, you do. Hey, 48-year-olds start drinking. You
Yeah.
dumb shit. Okay.
And that never stops.
Yeah, it never
sadly.
stops. It never stops. But it's one of those things where you could, someone could have been fucked up on that thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just don't realize it until you're older. Like Joe Machuca was just before you. He had a story where I asked him, like, how old were you when you realized what trouble you were actually in at that age? And he just kind of sat there. I don't think you really know what to answer.
It takes a while to grow up.
To realize you were in trouble.
Yeah.
You were in trouble, but how that could have went south real fast.
Yeah.
And being so young, going into the military, because I enlisted, at 18,
Right.
left home, by mom and dad. So you go out and you have friends that are anywhere from 17, 18 years old all the way to, 24, 25.
Right.
And it, just like any other job, you become friends with people that are out of your age range, and because you connect.
Right.
But it's crazy when they start acting your age and there's no voice of reason.
Right.
So yeah, looking back, it's like I could have been arrested for endangering myself,
Right.
freaking endangering others.
Right.
What I'm not a cop, so I don't know. But
Yeah.
not to mention the underage drinking.
Right.
And I remember coming home and I would tell that story to a couple of my friends here, and they're like, "Oh, you're crazy. That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
so cool." And just a couple of years ago, I'm telling the story to one of my cousins, and him and his little girlfriend, they're like, "Oh, that's pretty wild." And they're like, "You don't do that shit anymore, do you?" I'm like, No.
No. Yeah.
I got a wife that keeps me off the roof with the rope, So
And how riding in a trunk also a true story.
yeah, that was down to the last detail. We didn't have there was no Uber X over there.
Well, how incredibly dangerous to be in a foreign country doing that too,
Yeah, and
because that could have went south quick.
Oh my gosh.
You know.
So badly.
Yeah.
now, I brought up the fact that I called my mom. Like, in the moment, you're kind of liquored up. You don't have it, and you're,
Right.
you're just like, it's going to be okay. But, now it's like, I was dumb enough to do that.
Yeah.
And then your poor mom, you're in a what?
Yeah.
Yeah, you
I
just-
wouldn't be able to handle.
You're in a foreign country in a trunk
Yeah.
riding around. Yeah, she probably sat up all night and
Yeah, like,
yeah.
worried sick,
I'd beat
Crazy.
the shit out of mine upon arrival. Home. Yeah.
I didn't tell her when I was coming home, so there's that.
There you go.
Well, Anthony, that was a good job. That was fun, man.
Yes.
Did you have a good time?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, you were nervous to begin with.
Yes, I was, but
Now
it was awesome.
You
And
come
now
back and do
you're
it again, right?
seasoned.
Yes, I will.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Okay. Well, man, that was a good time. We both beat you, though. It's funny, see, but you have a disadvantage. Over 100 episodes, you start learning to,
Learn how to read people.
A little bit. Megan Orcutt, when she came in, I caught her on one little detail that I've started to notice. Some people, when they tell the Bullhucker, the lie, they'll say this, okay, this story's great. They'll start selling it before. And that's the only reason I caught her was she'd have that little thing where she goes, this is a true story. They'll try and reassure you first, and I'm like, oh, that's right there.
So no shit, there I was.
I
Yeah.
gotta start trying to pick up. I had to start thinking more like a cop
Yeah. No, well, that's just stuff I picked up on.
instead
So.
of a criminal.
But anyway, we better get out of here. Once again, Brush Emporium, please check them out on the description below. Also, Miss Baker Bella. Check her
Yeah,
out.
Sugar
And,
Beet Treats, Brush
Dude,
Emporium,
there's
the
not a lot of
Bullhucker
people-
podcast.
Check it all out, man. Guys, Anthony Bohlen, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
And best of luck in your ventures to become, man.
Well, we're going to see what happens.
Yeah, well, you never know, man, until you try, right?
Hope for the best, expect the worst. That's all we can do.
That's right. Well, I'm Moose Lundstrom.
Generous.
Generous. We'll catch you next time. Peace.